E85 kit for S6, S7 basically includes the bypass module. You get the plug for the one end, you get the plug for the one side, the passenger side high pressure fuel pump. This is the fitting that connects to the fuel line feed. This goes in right into this port. You have the passenger side fuel line and you have the driver side fuel line. It's pretty straightforward to install. A couple little things to just make a note of. So with both O-rings in there, press them in, make sure they're flush, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, now we're gonna lube up the sensor a little bit. We just got a little dab of WD-40 there, should work fine. And it'll be a very snug fit. Just work your sensor in. Yep, and then we'll do the other side. And you want to orient the sensor. You can have it both ways, so you want to make sure you got it in the direction that you want. So now we just put the center O-ring in. And then we have 4 bolts connecting the 2 halves. Supplied are the Allen keys. Makes the job a little bit more simple. So you can see here, I already have everything installed. This has been running on this shop car for about a year. So you can see here's the fuel feed. You might need to get a little tool to pop the feed line off, and then you screw this on. So you take off this bottom nut and then you put it on the feed, both pieces on the feed, and then you tighten it up, just nice and snug. And then you want to put this on to the back side of the module right there. So that's going to be our main feed. You're going to get it. That's a -8 to -6. And then I have the sensor sitting like this. Wiring, I'll send you a YouTube link. There's Savage Performance has already talked about doing all that stuff and where to tap into for DS1. Then basically the way the front passenger and driver side fuel pumps are going to be fed is from the bottom here, from the module. I'll show you that on the bench. So the bottom of this module has the -6 feeds. So basically the 90-degree ends on both hoses are going to go in there. And remember, keep everything loose. So we just tighten it up at the very end, so we have all the positioning in place. So back to the engine bay. The wires run below the intake. So you can see I have my stock line still here. That's the feed. So you might have to get a tool to push that. Hardware store, or sorry, auto parts store should have that. So I just have it ran underneath. You have to take the snorkel here for the air box. You also have to take this piece off, the scoop, and then you just run it around and then comes up right into here. Put it on loose. We include of course the M10 or M12 fitting that goes in there, and then you have the -6 end. And we also include, now this is the tedious part of the install, you got to remove the feed line, the original feed line, because we're going to block that. And then we're going to, this typically would have gone to the driver's side, but we're going to feed it from that end because that's a bigger port, so you get better flow. And we're going to go in parallel from the module again to feed the driver's side. So we block the other side with the provided fitting. This one right here comes with the copper crush washer. So you put that on. You might have to maneuver a little bit. You'll need an Allen key for that. A good Allen key set would be good to have handy. If you lift up this, remove this bolt, there's also a wire harness that connects here. It's the map sensor. Disconnect that, and you should be able to get an Allen key in there. And then once you take care of that side, you install the second line for the driver's side, and you route it through, maneuver the lines through, zip tie everything, and then connect it over here. You definitely want to disconnect your battery, or better yet, just pull the fuel pump fuse, turn it on, let it drain. Otherwise you will get fuel splashing at you if you unlock the doors or do anything to activate the pump. Remember, you don't need anything else on this end. There's nothing to block off because you have the pressure sensor. This is where it dead ends basically. Tighten everything down, put the fuse back in, or cycle the pump. Don't even turn it on yet, just cycle the pump, let the fuel system prime the lines. And then what I like to do, I just like to put my finger under each connection, underneath each connection, and check to make sure everything's dry. And then once that's all set, run the car, let it idle for a few minutes, check everything again, and if everything's solid, we can start working on the wiring. And then the way I have this set up is it goes through underneath the cowl, and it goes back into the dash, and I tapped it into one of the fuses, and that's about it. Set up your DS1 and should be good to go. Again, Savage Performance has a good video on installing the sensor and the wiring, so check that one out. So just to summarize everything again, you install a fuel feed, goes into the side of the module, and then you put the plug in. Then coming out of the bottom, you have both 90s, short hose passenger side, long hose driver side. Put the plug in to the passenger side fuel pump, tighten everything down, you're all set.